Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. I usually enjoy warming up with a kind of warm-up tool or a warm-up racket, so I wanted to talk a bit about that. I've done a few videos about that in the past, about the wooden spoon. I did a short on the Tolson Sweet area racket, so I want to give you a few different options here you have, depending on your kind of difficulty level, what kind of how much of a challenge you're looking for, really, because some of these are quite challenging. I find it hard to hit the sweet spot. Some of them I can play a full match with and really enjoy and play some good tennis with. It all depends really how much you want to push yourself and how good you are as a tennis player. And maybe if you have a very extreme grip, some of these will be very difficult. I can play with a continental grip, so in some cases that's easier to go kind of old school, but the idea is that you should be able to use your original swing and your original technique to make sure that you're warming up and hitting that sweet spot over and over, getting that ingrained, maybe 10-15 minutes, and then you get onto the court with your normal racket and you're feeling much better. It's much easier to play tennis. That's the feeling you're looking for, that tennis starts feeling easier. You're starting to have that huge sweet spot and you're more dialed in. And for me it has worked, so I can really recommend this. When I lose myself in all the racket testing, I usually find that going to kind of a warm-up tool or a wooden racket is the way to go. I feel like I dial in my contact point again and I'm getting my swing back and it's feeling more normal. So I need to kind of reset that from time to time, since I'm always playing with new rackets. It's a little bit the hassle of being a playtester. If you don't playtest rackets, it can still be a good tool for you to get into the groove and make sure you start dialing in that contact point over and over. So you have a few different options and we can do them in difficulty level. The first one I want to talk about is called the Sweet Spotter. It comes in this bag here, and it is pretty good if you want to fend off thieves and scumbags as well, because it's pretty much a baseball bat. So looks like this. This is by far the most difficult ones. I have a really hard time finding a good contact point with this. I don't even have that much of footage because I find it too difficult to use. If you're a really good player or you just have a great knack of kind of finding the sweet spot, maybe then you'll be fine with this. But for me, it's just way too difficult. If I play baseball, this would be great, but since I play tennis, I find it quite complicated to get a groove with it. I can't really rally with this racket. I can hit one good shot, maybe two, and then that's it. While with the other options here, I can play better. That might be just me and my grip or something. You have to maybe groove with it more. The issue I find is that as soon as you hit a little bit off with this racket, the sweet spot is so small, the ball just sails like it's a baseball bat. So the ball is going to sail out of the stadium, and then you're going to have to buy new balls or go and pick up the ball. It can be quite annoying. So that's the issue with this one. I think it could be great for players that are much better maybe than I am, but I'm not good enough to use this in any efficient way, sadly. So that's the Sweet Spotter. That's my feeling about it. I wish it was easier. I wish I was better maybe, but I find it a little bit too complicated to get going with. That's just the issue. Let me know if you have different experiences with the Sweet Spotter baseball bat style tool. Next up, kitchen utensils. It's the wooden spoon. Looks like this. Sweet looking, sold by Functional Tennis, MSV, a few other websites probably have these now. And I have the Pro version here, from Functional Tennis. It's a bit heavier than the previous one I tried, and I actually prefer this one. I feel like I get a little bit more on the ball. The issue I have with this one, similar to the other one, it's that it's quite small, so it's quite difficult to use. And the feeling on impact is not great because it's wood. Wood on ball. I prefer getting strings on the ball. That's my feeling. I prefer that feedback and the sensation, but to warm up this is fine. It's definitely as difficult as it gets, so you're going to get that sweet spot dialed in pretty well, and I've seen players hit well with this. I can hit a few 5-6 shots, but then probably I will miss at some point. But yeah, you warm up 10-15 minutes and then you move over to your ordinary racket, and this actually works pretty well. I find this easier to use than the baseball bat. So the wooden spoon beats the baseball bat in terms of ease of use, but it's still quite difficult. And don't play with this for too long because your arm might say no. Next up, much easier, the Tolson Sweet area. You might have seen my short about this one. This is a 320 gram version, so it has a little bit higher swing weight. You can actually play with this. I got an email from a guy who said he actually uses this for his matches. That's a little bit extreme. but you know, whatever floats your boat, I guess. I mean, you can restring it with a poly and play with it. The sweet spot area is pretty nice and generous. Just compare here, you see what the difference is here, how well you have to play with this one compared to this one. So I prefer the strings, and I like the sensation of that. I also enjoy that I can actually play with it and get some good rallies, and then when I move to my normal racket I feel much more confident. So the sweet area is my favorite of the training tools for now. They're all doing the job of what they're supposed to do, but for me it's easier to get going with the sweet area, obviously, because it is much more forgiving than the other two. One of the tools I love the best to play with is the old Woody. This is the Bancroft Bjorn Borg. Beautiful frame. I love this racket, actually really enjoy hitting with it. It's like a 400 something swing weight, so it's a beast and super heavy, plus 400 grams as well. And but yeah, beautiful, flexible feel. Really gets my contact point dial in. Obviously it's easier to get going. Maybe you play with a continental grip, you get it into that old school style of play. That's kind of normal with this frame, but I just enjoy hitting with this one a lot. So this is kind of my preferred warm-up tool, the Woody. But yeah, the sweet area and this one, they are not far away in terms of head size. If we compare them, you can see here, these are not that far away. They're pretty similar actually. Here you go. The sweet area is a little bit lighter to swing, obviously. It has a lower swing weight. The Woody is a beast. So, but yeah, a little bit bigger sweet spot, tiny bit. But yeah, beautiful feel from the wood. If you don't want to go and get a wooden racket, or you don't have one, or you just feel like they're too heavy, you can go for a mid-size frame. You could go for a Prestige Classic. I have it up on the wall, or you can go for like a Pro Staff 85. This is a 85 square inch head size and beautiful racket. You know, there's so many fans of this frame. And Sampras used it, Edberg used it, Courier used it, you know, it's a legend in the game. And yeah, warm up with this one, much easier than the other ones. Still can play some good tennis with this. Some tennis nerds still use this as their match frame. That's another story. But yeah, it works for flatter hitters and players who just want that pinpoint precision and that beautiful feel that this has, thanks to the way it's designed and the layup and so on. So this is a great frame and a good warm-up tool as well before maybe you move to a 98 or 100 square inch racket. So as you can see here, the wooden is difficulty level maximum pretty much compared to a normal racket. And this is not an oversized frame. This is an 85 square inch head size. You see that the wood is not too far away from what this is. This is obviously more forgiving, but it's not so far away actually. And the Tolson fits even more inside. So you can definitely see that this is a good warm-up tool from Tolson as well. All right, so warm-up tools. I can really recommend, if you don't have any of these, to just get a wooden racket or an old school small head size racket, an Arthur Ashe from Head or whatever you floats your boat. Or even a mid-size frame from the 90s, that also works. But it's a good way to warm up your sweet spot and then move over to a bigger racket. I really believe in this. I prefer the Woody, maybe because I'm an old school player. I just love that sensation when hitting the ball. And you get some really good power actually if you hit it cleanly, because the weight of the frame is massive. So there's something to be said for these wooden rackets and also these training tools. So the difficulty level goes, the sweet spotter is the most difficult for me to use, almost impossible actually. The tennis pointer, aka the wooden spoon, is number 2 in difficulty level. It's quite difficult to use, but better than the sweet spotter for me. Then you can get the sweet area Tolson racket. There's also a 280 gram version of those. They are far easier to use, and otherwise go for a mid-size frame or a Woody. That would be my recommendation. Give it a go. Do you use training tools like these? I can really recommend doing so. Maybe try one with one of your juniors if you're a coach, or kids. See if they like it. I mean, you dial in your sweet spot and you get going in a good way. And I actually think it has some benefits. So let me know in the comments below what you think about these training tools or playing with a wooden racket. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you very soon. If you want to support the work I do, check out my content on patreon.com/tennisnerd. And if you need tennis gear or want to check out some cool services like Top Court or Swing Vision, check out my affiliates. The links are in the description. Please also subscribe to the channel. That helps a lot. Thanks, have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.